Hi, I'm Tara Lynn of Geek Saga Entertainment here with my co-host Manny for the Geek Saga Show series, The Media That Made Us. This series focuses on media that the two of us consumed in our younger or maybe even just slightly younger years, media that helped shape our current interests and that we still love.
So I'm Manny, and for our 11th Media That Made Us episode, we're continuing our coverage of the reimagined Battlestar Galactica series and discussing the Arc of Despair, which includes BSG Season 4, episodes 11 through 18.
All right, before we get started, just a heads up that you can follow me and therefore all of the Geek Saga endeavors at a Geek Saga on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube.
And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Benissimo Art.
Just a couple other house cleaning items before we dig in. If you're watching this as a webcast on Facebook or YouTube, pretty please make sure to hit those like and or subscribe buttons. And if you're catching the audio only version on your favorite podcatcher, we could really use some more ratings, especially on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and would super very much greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to mark the Geek Saga podcast 5 stars wherever you're listening. Last but hopefully not least, we hope that you'll check out the Geek Saga Entertainment Patreon. We have a lot of tiers with just $3 per month, getting you the most prevalent perk of early access to podcast episodes. You can check it out at patreon.com/geeksaga_entertainment.
Our format for this Media That Made Us series includes our top 5 moments that made it. Basically, our hot takes from the portion of the series we're covering, followed by any insights we've uncovered from rewatches and or being longtime fans, with our first top 5 moments of this arc of despair.
Well, Manny, first up from the episode, Sometimes a Great Notion, we have you get a Cylon reveal, and you get a Cylon reveal, and you get a Cylon reveal.
Oh my
Basically,
god.
we have to be not serious with these as much as possible because this is a very
Very
serious
dark.
set of
Yes.
episodes. But basically, after setting down on Earth and it being destroyed, they take some samples and they realize that the Earth they discovered was entirely populated by Cylons, which apparently means that, Cylons were the 13th tribe. And then bonus, Ty goes swimming in the ocean, and this kicks his memory into overdrive. And he recalls that of all people, his wife Ellen is the 5th member of the final 5. It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
It was certainly a lot to I mean, it was a good reveal though. I'll say
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Like the way it was done. And poor Ty having to jump in whatever Canadian water that was, that was frozen. You can tell all over him like when
Yeah.
he's doing it.
It was like just south of
Dude,
Vancouver. I don't know when exactly they filmed it, but either way, the Pacific Ocean is freezing here
it's
in the middle of
freezing.
summer. So
Yep. I really did like the concept of the 13 tribe being all Cylons. Like it was different, which fits into the 13 tribe because it's always spoken about like with this mystery, like there was something different about it, So I do like the fact that it was all, you know, different, all Cylons, like
mhm.
something different. I did, but kind of didn't like the entire, I appreciated the entire exposition dump that Anders went on when he's sitting in the hospital bed, right? Because it's like, guys, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
We have like 5 or 6 episodes left. We need to, so they just kind of dumped it and just so we can move on. Like, okay, so here's what happened, guys. Like, here's the story.
Yeah.
And they kind of told everything. It was cool, but I felt like it was just kind of a lot at once to kind of
Mhm.
but I did appreciate it at the fact because remember, we've been chasing the mystery of the 13th tribe since the beginning. So it
Yeah.
was like, okay, it's kind of like when Neo sees the architect, right? In the Matrix. It was like that exposition dump where it was like, okay, cool. I'm glad that, we know now what it is. But
I guess at least
Ellen,
they gave, like, a reason for him to be giving the exposition dump. Yeah, like,
yeah,
he was shot in the head and everything that happened kind of like with
yep,
Ty, it kicked his memory into overdrive. I do have to say
yeah,
that before we get into the Ellen stuff, so the idea of we know that there were, you know, 12 right, wait, hold on. Am I doing this right? Let me do my math. 13 Cylon models, right? There's the 8 and then the 5. So 13.
Yes, the 13.
So that means and we also know that they had trouble figuring out how to procreate. So that means this planet was entirely populated with like I guess millions of the same 13 people, like looks wise. That's a little bit weird
That's
to
a
think
little weird.
about.
That is kind of weird because they're identical, and it's like, is this my girlfriend? Is it? I don't know,
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, that sort of thing happens later
Mm,
in this episode.
yeah,
So
we'll get into
we're
that
gonna
one later.
yeah. But
Look, I'll
other than
say,
that, it was an
yeah,
interesting reveal for sure.
it was an interesting like reveal, and I did like how they did like the flashbacks and stuff because it was cool to see that life on the Cylon planet was pretty much just like you know a normal
Mhm.
Earth or whatever. They were just normal people. They just have different blood. That's all. And they're robots, kind of. But what's the human body than just a biological robot, guys? I mean, come on, let's be real here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So moving on to Ellen, right? So Ellen being the final Cylon makes sense to an extent. It makes sense in the sense that she's somebody that it's like they were trying to like subvert expectation, right? They wanted to do something different because at this point, Ellen was gone. We kind of forgot about her, and thought that her story was kind of told and that was it. So we were just like, okay, which one is it going to be? Is it going to be like a Dom? Is it going to be Kara Thrace? Like, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Hot Dog? Like, we don't know. We're just waiting around hoping that it's Hot Dog, but we don't know what's going to happen, right? So, but when they revealed it, I wasn't as like surprised as I was with, Colonel Ty hearing the song or like the chief hearing the song and
Yeah.
the way it built up. The reveal was good. Don't get me wrong. Like the reveal of Ellen was actually done very well. However, for me, it was just more of a, huh? Like, what? Wait, really? Ellen? Okay. I
Alright.
mean, I was like, all right. Well, I mean, all right. I mean, at this point, we really don't know what to expect with anything because there's characters that come and go and disappear and get sucked out of the airlock. So we just we've I think at this point we've become accustomed to just not really following what we think is going to happen. Like, okay, they're going to do something different, but I do feel that the reveal was kind of less than stellar, and it was like multiple reveals. It was like, hey guys, let's reveal Ellen like 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah.
So, but look, and I love Kate Vernon, the actress who plays Ellen. She's fantastic. I love the Ellen. No one could have played that character. She's
Yeah.
fucking great. She has that wonderful chaotic energy that I love. Like it's fantastic. But
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I honestly do think that it would have been more fun for the Ellen reveal to be her waking up in the vat of goo rather than Ty remembering that it was her. I understand why they did it the way they did. But at the same time, it would have been really cool to just have all this thing and they still don't know who the fifth, member of the final
mhm.
five is. And then like boom, beginning of the next episode or whatever it is, it's Ellen just out of
Yeah.
the out of the
Yep.
goo vat over here.
Yep.
Also, that said, I got the major squicks during her first conversations with Cavill and hearing that she made him in her father's image and
Yeah.
remembering that the two of them had an affair on New
Oh,
Gabrica. Like,
no.
gross.
Oh.
I know that she didn't remember who or what she was at that time, and neither did he, but still, like, yuck, 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 yuck. I don't
Yeah,
ugh, like, in
yeah,
your
major
father's
gross.
image too, like, there's some it's not quite edible for obvious reasons, but this is the best I don't like it. I don't like
No,
it.
I know it's like I want to go home now. Like, I was just like, no, I don't like it.
Oh, Lord, I don't want it.
Oh my god. It was
So
yeah.
lots of Cylon news these episodes,
Yes.
but that said, we have several more things. I
Yes.
can't. I'm
Yes, we do.
already just like
Okay. The next top moment comes from the episode. A disquiet follows my soul. It's truly a special one for us as hosts and for anyone who has been keeping up with our BSG discussions because it turns out that in the case of approximately 2-year-old Nikki, Chief, you are not the father.
But Manny, what did the paternity test determine? Who is the father?
The paternity test shows here that it was actually hot dog. Yes.
I can't fucking believe that we did not remember this plot point.
None of
All
us
of
did,
our,
dude. It was
all
like a
of our hot
blank.
dog I'm tearing up again. Fuck. All of our hot dog nonsense the past couple episodes, and neither of us remembered.
Dude, I did not remember that. I was driving. I was in the middle of driving to Florida when you had texted me. And I was like, and you were like, dude, the Chief's not the father. And then I was like, oh, well, that would make sense because we were just talking like in the last episode about
How
Nikki,
weird it
right? I was
was
like,
that, they
yeah,
weren't,
yeah,
focusing on Nikki being a half
exactly.
Cylon
And you said
baby.
you weren't the father. And then I was like, oh, that's right. He wasn't the father. It still didn't dawn on me. And then you were like, guess who is the father? And I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking hot dog.
In all
Yes.
caps, because I'm literally sitting there like tears falling from my eyes. I'm laughing so hard. And it's been a long time since
Oh
I have
my
laughed
God.
that hard. But my God. Like,
Dude,
of
and
course
like I'm
it's
in the
fucking hot
car.
dog.
Dude, I'm in the car and my kids have no idea what's going on because I was listening to music like in one ear and I looked at my phone. Now there was nobody on the road at the time, so nobody, throw a shoe at me. But like, and I just like out of nowhere, I'm just like, oh my God, it's fucking hot dog. you know, the kids are like, huh? What do you mean? Huh?
What's a hot dog then?
Yeah. Are we getting hot dogs? Like somebody got one, but I didn't know.
Oh my God. All right. So
Oh my God. Dude. Okay, so Hot Dog didn't get to be a Cylon, but ladies and gentlemen, let's tell him what he won. He got Parenthood, the home version. Okay, because yeah, that was it. He just. I feel like they really tried to like shoehorn him into a lot of situations in this. Where it's like,
mhm.
oh, okay, like I get it. You know, he's Edward James Olmos' son. Like we gotta get him to like do something. It couldn't have been just some rando who knocked up Callie or anything. It had to be fucking hot dog. And it's great, dude, because hot dog just doing what he does best, dude. Hot dogging. That's it, man. You know, I can imagine him. He probably had sex with her by accident. Okay. He probably just went to like use the restroom. And then Callie was there and was like, "Oh no, I gotta get mine." And he was just like, Okay, I guess we're having sex. Let's do this." Like that's you know. But in saying that, they had to do this, right? They had to do this because, like we had spoken about in the last one, about how they didn't talk about the fact that Nikki was quite possibly, you know, a Cylon human baby. Also, they had to write, because this, if Nikki was, then it was going to negate the entire concept of Hera to begin with.
Mhm.
So in essence, they had to write this baby out, is
Yeah.
what it is, and they didn't want to like murder it like it's like everybody else had been getting murdered. They're like, no, we just need to just write it out of the story kind of nice and cleanly. At this point, the writers had so much blood on their hands that they're just like, we just got to do something different. But either way, you know what? Hot Dog's legacy is going to live on now forever now, right?
I mean, honestly, like you said that the writer, like they got enough blood on their hands. Like the writers just had to kind of get this whole thing out of the picture, this
Yeah.
child out of the picture. But I gotta say, and Dean and I were actually talking about this earlier. I get that Chief is a Cylon and that he's upset about how he's being treated because of that. And he's also got a fuck ton going on, like he's trying to save the Galactica,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera. But he does just basically dump Nikki on Hot Dog without any remorse.
Yeah.
And now that I'm recalling all of this, I'm almost entirely certain, and Dean confirmed that I was right about this, that Chief really just does totally dump Nikki for good. And
Yep.
that's like, what the fuck, man? Like, okay, I get it. This kid isn't your child biologically, but you've been raising him for 2 years ish, give or take. I tried to look up timelines and do some math.
Yeah.
Nikki, like the shortest amount of time I got was that he's like maybe 15 months old. The middle ground is
Mhm.
like 18 to 19 months, or he's about 2 years. I'm gonna go with, by the way he looks, that he's probably more like 18 months. But I'm not good with babies. I never had them, so I could be wrong there. But
I really thought it was
um,
gonna be some kind of, like, joint parental thing, because you remember when he sits Hot
yeah,
Dog down, he's like, "You're gonna stay here," and he's like, "How long do I wait?" He's like, "Until I get back." So I was like, "Okay, you guys are doing double duty now. We got my 2 dads now. I'm loving it. This is awesome."
I
Yeah.
honestly, yeah. And maybe the writers, etc., thought that those lines would be, just proof that that's what was happening. But
Mhm.
then, like, it's I don't even remember, as far as I remember, and like I said, Dean seemed to have the same, thought that even when they get to like actual to New Earth or whatever you want to call it at the end of the show, there's no like, I don't like, listen, I get it. I don't expect that Chief is gonna be BFFs with Hot Dog, and like, not quite the, my two dads situation. Well, certainly not that level of my two dads, but even just, oh, my bio dad and the guy who raised
Mhm.
me for 2 years and is going to continue to be on my life dad, are going to be friends, or at least like friendly acquaintances, and help raise me together. But there's just no evidence that anything like that happens.
No, it's really I think it's just done after that. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
never anything. I always saw it, or what I how I would have liked to envision it is that you have Hot Dog who's trying to be a father, and then now you have the chief who's being a father figure to Hot Dog, right? Kinda teaching him
I don't
like,
know that
"Oh,
they're
no,
that much different in age, but
no, no, not that much different, but,
right,
like,
yeah.
and also the chief beating up Hot Dog. Come on, dude. Like, come on, man. You know? It's not like that was, like, before you guys got together, and he didn't know he was the fucking father apparently, so it's like, you
I
know.
mean, was it I guess it was before they got together. I'm a little bit like, I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm going with, I don't like, as much as I never really loved Callie.
Mhm,
I know that she was pregnant, or got pregnant before her and Chief got married, but then I
mhm,
also saw something that referred to it as her having an affair with Hot Dog, and it's like, okay, so are you using the old-timey version of affair that's like, oh, anybody you sleep with outside of wedlock is an affair? Or is it our version of affair where you were with Chief and had an affair with Hot Dog? I'm gonna go with like, they probably meant the former, but it timing-wise seems like it would be the latter. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter in the end. Like, she's dead, and
yeah.
whatever,
What
but yeah,
did
it seems like, even if it was a full
mhm.
on, like a full blown cheating situation on Callie's part, it does seem like you raised this kid for like 2 years, man. Like,
Didn't Doc Cottle tell him though that it was before they got together?
maybe
I think Doc Cottle said something like that.
I thought, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, what was it, before they got married or before they got together entirely? I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
wish
it
I
doesn't
wish
really matter, but
I wish I was better at Photoshop because I really wanted to do like the Maury Povich, like when he's sitting in the thing with the thing, but I wanted to superimpose Doc Cottle's face over him. It's what I wanted to do. You know,
you should have
that is
just changed your lower third here from Manny to Manny Povich for this.
Maury Povich, exactly.
Christ.
Oh
Oh,
man,
man.
that look, but in the end, that was the gift that just gave. Like
It
Hot Dog gave it to us, and I was like,
he is the gift that keeps on giving.
gives on giving, and I was like, this is exactly why I didn't know what was going on, but my brain did. My brain was gravitating towards Hot Dog, and I didn't know why, you know. But here he is, dude. Hot Dog forever, man.
All right. Well, I don't know how much more fun we're gonna have in this
Yeah, guys.
discussion.
So we're going through the tunnel now, and then Willy Wonka when they go through the tunnel. Like that's where it was all happy and fun here. Now we're going through the dark. Is where we're going. So
Yeah, because spanning several episodes, because some of what happens in A Disquiet Follows My Soul leads to the events in The Oath and Blood on the Scales, we have for our third top arc of despair moment an ill-fated insurrection.
yeah. Do you want to start with this one, or you want me to start?
You start,
Okay.
because I just, yeah.
Hear me out on this, because I'm fixing to take a shit on someone. Okay. Like, it's an unpopular opinion, no doubt. But ever since Gata lost his leg, he became an insufferable character to me. Like right out of the starting gate. Look, the guy's got a beautiful voice when he's sitting there in the bed singing and all this shit. But as soon as he started doing that, it fucking grated on me. I was like, dude, like fucking stop. Like if I was in the hospital bed next to you, I'd be smashing your face in right now. Like, shut the fuck up. It was very much just like a poor me kind of like situation, and I really just didn't vibe with it, at all. So, but I just wish they would have given him more of like a redemption arc to it, right? So like take your cues from like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because something very similar happens, right? You have Nog, and Nog goes out to war and he loses his leg, right? And this kid goes through the entire like spectrum, right? He goes through the shock of it, and then he brutes around and everybody's worried about him, whatever. Then he finally has his complete breakdown, you know, and he starts talking about, he just has his complete mental break. And then after that, he comes back out on top again, and it was such a good like story for a character that really probably wasn't meant to be much on that show. And I feel like with Gata, they really should have done something with that. But it's like we got like half that story with Gata, but it was like worse because of the insurrection. And then you're supposed to be like, oh, feel bad for me because or whatever. Not that he ever comes out and says feel bad for me, but that's kind of like where it's kind of pulling you at. But you make a deal with the fucking devil, Tom Zarek, right? Like, how are you going to feel after that shit? Are you going to feel safe after that? Probably not. You're right, because you
Mhm.
think that you're doing something good. Like, oh, we don't want to join the Cylons, so we're going to do this insurrection. It's like, dude, it's blood for blood at this point. How safe are you going to feel after Tom Zarek just had the entire quorum murdered?
Mhm.
And then Gata looks at him like, oh my god, wait, how can you do this? Like, what are you doing? It's like, motherfucker,
What
what
did
did you
you
think was
expect?
going to happen? Like you signed that shit, and now here you go. What did you think was gonna fucking happen?
I think that I have more understanding for how Gata got to where he is. I think that some of it is the depression and everything that he's feeling from the loss of his leg. I think that some of it is the, absolute betrayal he's feeling by Adama and all of them, like for wanting to align themselves with the Cylons. So
Mhm.
I have understanding as to how he got to this point, and I even have understanding as to how he ended up allying himself with Zarek, because I think that Zarek, he's very gray, right? He always has been, but I do think that while he does have some, ambition issues and whatnot, I do think that at the end of the day, he does have in the way he perceives it, at least, the best interest of all the people. He- that's what he's working for, right? It's not entirely true, but I do believe that he believes that. Zarek, I mean, the moment in the insurrection where Gata lost me was when he's like going over the stuff on Adama's desk,
Mhm.
and then he still calls in for them
Mhm.
to execute Adama. Like that's where he really, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not okaying everything he did before that. But that was the moment that he really lost me, because in that moment, it really seemed that he was going to make the opposite decision. And maybe it would be Zarek who pressed to, who ignored that and pressed to carry it out or whatever. But no, he like quadrupled down, and that just seemed, it wasn't, maybe this is one of those rare instances where I feel like it just wasn't done well. Like if you're going to have Gata make that final decision, then don't give him this like sappy scene where he's like pawing
Exactly.
through Adama's things and seeing all these things that make Adama who he is, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
And yeah, the all of that said, the Zarek killing all of the members of the quorum was just, again, that was the moment where Zarek lost me.
Mhm.
Not because I think the quorum was super effective or that all of them were good
No.
people or anything,
I
but
couldn't stand them. I couldn't stand them from the
it's
beginning.
like, it's literally like, oh, y'all don't agree with me? Well, how
Yeah.
about murder?
Exactly.
Only murders in the quorum room.
Talk to the hand, but really the trigger finger, and and problem solved, guys. Guess what?
And like, I mean, there were other things about the whole insurrection arc that were, I mean, great in terms of like, holy shit, wow, great. Not
Mhm.
in not like good things happening, but holy shit when they tell Rosalind that Adama is dead
Oh
and she
yeah.
just goes fucking scary. I mean, like, we've
Yeah.
seen Rosalind piss before. We've seen her put her foot down. We have seen her be hardcore, but in that moment, it was like, it was the most human reaction I think she's ever had. Like, she set every politician part of her aside and was like, I'm
Mhm.
gonna murder you all.
Yep.
And listen, yeah, please, at this point, do.
Yeah. At this point, yes, do it.
But yeah, that was, I really love that, because it also speaks to like the depth of her feelings for
Mhm.
Adama, that she lost her decorum
Yeah.
entirely in that
Yep.
moment. Again, rightfully so.
Yep.
Just
Rightfully so.
really, really great. And also, Mary McDonnell was the fucking perfect in
Oh
that
yeah.
scene. Like,
Oh yeah.
she looks so ill because she's supposed to look like she's dying from cancer and everything.
Mhm.
And oh, she is still fucking scary.
She's still fucking scary.
And then I
Fantastic.
think that I saw something that, like, apparently people thought that maybe there would be a Hail Mary for Zarek, and or more likely for Gata, I think is what people are
Mhm.
saying, that there would be a Hail Mary and he wouldn't get executed in the end. And I was like, "Really? I did not think that was gonna happen." Like, Gata's kind of he's already been on that chopping block. Like, now he's literally created this whole insurrection. How many people are dead because of him?
Because of him. Yep.
And yeah, they're not gonna just let him off the hook now because once upon a time he wasn't like this. This isn't the place we're at in this storyline in this show.
No, and the thing is that in the end, he ordered the execution of Adama.
Mhm.
He could have just kept him in the brig
Yep.
and said,
Yep.
"Hey, just keep him in the brig and don't kill." That's if I was going to do an insurrection and there was somebody like Adama there, I wouldn't kill him. I'd be like, "No, keep him. I want him alive. Keep him in the brig, like whatever."
Yeah.
So that way, I can show them that I was right, right? Like something like that. But you're just, oh, just execute him. I was like, okay, Gata, you're dead.
Yeah. Again, very, very ill-fated insurrection, but they almost pulled it off. Like, listen, if it weren't for fucking Butch and Sundance over here,
Yeah, exactly.
Starbuck and Lee, or Lee
Yep.
and Starbuck, however you want to assign them
Hmm.
role wise. But
Yep.
if it weren't for them, and also for Chief, like, what did he like crawled through? I don't know, the
Yeah.
every back door that Galactica has to
Yep.
shut off the FTL drive so they couldn't actually jump. If it weren't for the three of them, but mostly uh Butch and Sunday.
Butch and Sundance over there, dude. Fucking baby Adama coming out, blowing people away. It was like nice.
And also, this is where Anders gets shot, which is how we get all that lovely exposition that we mentioned in our first top moment.
Exactly. We just had to give him a little smack so we can get the story. Just here you go,
Yeah, we'll smack.
just a little smack.
Oh,
There
Lord.
you go.
All
Oh
right.
man. All right, next one. Top moment number 4 also features a multi-episode arc kicking off in sometimes a great notion and concluding, well, sort of in a way, in Islanded in the Stream of Stars. We'll take what the heck is Starbuck for 1,000, Ron? Dude, look, Starbuck discovers what is clearly her crashed Viper on Earth. And, the skeleton, wearing her dog tag
Mhm.
and the unrealistic hair that is still underneath that helmet. Okay. I'm pretty sure that would have burned. It looked like the rest of the body was pretty charred. Okay.
Also,
Maybe
the
it just,
hair, I think, would have, if there's
yeah.
no skin left, I don't think there really would have been much. Like, you could have maybe found a couple loose
Yeah.
strands floating around, but other than that, that was
When
a
did she
really that was
crash
a really
land?
great wig.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to theory craft here for a minute. She crash landed there before they nuked themselves. And there was just a kid there. And he was like, oh, look, I'm going to put this wig on this dead body. And it just happened to like stay on for the other
I
2,000
think I
years
think
that it
she
was
only
there.
crash landed like 6 months ago or something.
Oh, well. I,
Supposedly, according to, Ron Moore, who, yeah.
I really wish they would have like explained it like a little more with that, right? Because I mean, her ship fucking imploded. It wasn't like it crash landed or anything like that. It fucking imploded. We all saw it, but now it's kind of like it's damaged. The wing's not on it. It's just the cockpit, and it's sitting here on this planet. I'm like, I don't know, dude. That's when it got weird. I mean, I understood what they did. I was like, I
Maybe
get
the
it.
explosion is what some sort of different technology looks like when they go into, like a sort of hyperdrive. I don't know. Listen, it's nonsensical. And I have so many thoughts on this, but first let's talk about
Okay.
what
Yes.
happens
Yes.
in these actual episodes before I get into
Yes.
my fucking crazy, because I have some theory crafting and it's some fucking crazy theory crafting.
So obviously she's struggling with this throughout all of these episodes, but it really comes to a head when she gives those recovered dog tags to Boltar, who tests them and confirms that the blood on them is from a dead person, and that dead person was definitely Starbuck. He calls her an angel and starts using her story as a way to preach eternal life and shit to his harem.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's a
start,
lot more than that, because it is at like the whole ceremony where
yeah,
they're going over the deaths of
yeah,
the people who died in the breach, the hull breach.
that's right, that's right. And Starbuck, just being Starbuck, slaps him and just walks away. I thought that was one of the coolest reactions Starbucks had on this show. Because generally she's very mouthy. And the way she did
Mm.
it and just slapped him and walked away was so real. It was very human. And it was like, wow, that's fucking good. Like, I don't know.
Just
I
like,
thought it was
I
cool.
gave you these to do a thing, and now you're taking it to like a religion level. Not here for it,
Mhm.
my dude. Not here
Exactly.
for it. Okay. So this is going to take a minute because I got a lot to say here. I actually wrote a blog entry about this a million years ago. And by a million years ago, I mean like 15 years ago, 16
Yeah.
years ago. Uh, I know that Ron Moore has basically said that Starbuck was a super angel, aka an angel that people can both see and touch. At least back in the day, there were fans who insisted that she was a seraph, which
Hmm.
were like, I don't know, aliens maybe that existed in the original series, and they were described as wingless angels. I don't know why you have to say wingless. Like, just they were they were they were described as angels, whatever, but they could take on normal human form as needed. And I do kind of get why people would subscribe to this, because apparently these seraphs were supposed to feature heavily in the Galactica 1980 show that was canceled very quickly. Like a script was even written in which the original series Starbuck actually joined the seraphs. However, seraphs were described as a race of sentient beings who knew what they were and how they became what they were, while Kara 3 Starbuck has no memory of the time period when she was missing and presumed dead, or when she died, whatever, nor does she know who or what she is, at least still not at this point, right?
Mhm.
So then there's the half Cylon theory, which, to be honest, I might still subscribe to a little bit,
Yeah.
because to me it seems super convenient that Ellen and Cavill in this set of episodes went on about the Daniel Cylon model that Cavill destroyed. Daniel, who had musical and artistic inclinations, who was like Ellen's absolute fave. And how could she not have foreseen what Cavill would do to the model? And if she did foresee it, why would she not try to save, if not the original Daniel, then at least one of the copies? And Starbuck herself not only has some artistic inclinations, as we've seen over and over and over again, but also seems to have way more stamina than most, if not all, humans. She's
Mhm.
constantly touted as being the best pilot in the fleet and possibly the best pilot ever.
Mhm.
She has like amazingly short reaction times and almost extrasensory perception. She was able to essentially hotwire a Cylon
Yep.
Raider on instinct alone, not to
Mhm.
mention the special interest the Cylons seem to take in her, namely Leoben, but the hybrid as well, not to mention the nonsense in the breeding facility way earlier in the series. And like, I know I'm not going to get into all of the details of this theory, and there are still tons of holes in it, but I've always liked it better than the whole like basic. She's just a super angel. Bye forever,
Yep.
guys.
Yeah, I didn't like the angel concept. I think what you're leaning on there, I think it was way better.
I think your dad's name even started with a D. Just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I
Oh my
agree.
god.
I agree with you on that. I think that because I didn't know that, so I thought that was really good, and yeah, it would have made more sense, and including the fact that like I would have much preferred to be like half Cylon because
Mm.
she's seeing this guy in the bar that nobody else sees, and that's like Cylon projection shit, right? So I was like, oh yeah, that would have been fucking cool, like, but maybe the guy was just a lesser angel and she can see him and that was it, or I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we could be like, I could go basic and just agree. Like, Ron Moore is the creator. He said she was a super angel. So I guess that's the thing we have to go with here. But also, like,
There's a difference in reaction to it to where someone tells you something, you go, oh, okay. And then someone tells you something, you go, okay,
yeah.
like sure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, all right. Like, I don't believe you, but like, okay. I'm gonna write my own story as soon as we're done here. So that's fine.
Hey,
Like,
I mean, and honestly, that's what fanfic is, and maybe this is just my fanfic, but
exactly.
I also think that there are legitimate reasons to believe that she was Cylon. I don't think that there's still tons of holes in this theory, right? Like, how did she? There was no like, where did she resurrect, et cetera, whatever. But listen, I still like it better than the angel thing.
I like it better than
Um,
the angel thing also. I'm with you on that.
all right. I think we're here, right? We finally have reached our last top moment for this
We're
particular
here.
set of episodes. One that you do see coming throughout this entire arc of despair, but which also culminates in Islanded in a Stream of Stars, and it is the Galactica's last gasp.
Yep.
Like, listen, the ship was old before this. Like, it was supposed to be a retired museum ship. Okay, we get
Yep.
it was old,
Yep.
and it's been falling apart even faster since all of the bullshit with the fight to get people off New Caprica. Obviously,
Hmm.
for
Yep.
obvious reasons, but even when Adama reluctantly agrees to using Cylon tech in an attempt to fix her, it's very slow going. And then in her escape attempt, Boomer jumps her Raptor too close to the Galactica and makes things even worse. So basically, Adama, despite railing against this until what seems to be the very moment he admits the Galactica is done for, has no choice but to try to come to terms with letting her go. And it's also like it's a very big point of contention in his relationship with Roslyn, and even
Mhm.
bigger with Hilo, because Hilo's like, oh my God, just fucking give up on the ship, dude. Like when
Mhm.
he's wanting to take a raptor out by himself to try to go find Hera, who's been kidnapped, which we'll talk about a little more in a bit. But yeah, but at the same time, it's like when she finds that, I mean, it doesn't even look like a crack. It literally looks like a fucking like a tear in the universe, honestly.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean that, you know, figuratively, but also
Yeah.
kind of quite literally, because
Yeah.
the Galactica, literally the show is Battlestar Galactica.
It's Battlestar
So it kind
Galactica.
of is a tear in the
Yep.
universe.
Yep.
Uh, I don't know. It's so, but we knew it was bound to happen eventually, but like I think you don't think it's going to happen in the timeline of the show, right? Like the
No.
Galactica is itself a hero of the story. The ship
Yep.
is a hero.
Exactly. Exactly. She is one of the main characters, so it's like, except that she's
Big
dying
main
slowly.
character energy.
Big
Big
main
main
character
character
energy.
energy.
And I would like to do a shout out here for a minute that they did retract the landing pods in this episode, which we haven't seen in like since like the first season or some shit.
Yeah.
Because they did it, and I was like, oh. And then when they were doing that, this episode, of course, I forgot. This is a point that I just don't remember because so I was like, oh well, if they were still able to retract the landing pods, maybe she wouldn't get away. And then they're like, retract landing pods. I'm like, oh shit, they still work. Why haven't you guys been using them? Like, like what the fuck?
But I mean, the thing is,
But
she is so set on getting away that even if she hadn't been able to slip out at the last second,
yeah,
she still would have, the
she still
raptor
would have
still would have
jumped.
exploded
Yeah.
on the inside of
Hmm.
the, like even if before she jumped, it would have hit the wall and exploded, and that would have
Yep.
possibly caused even more damage. I don't know. I will say that when she jumped, this is about the Galactica, but I will say that I had to Google, does hot dog survive?
Exactly.
To the end of the series, because
Yeah,
he was like right there, like
he was
yelling the
right there.
warning, and he's like, no, don't do it, no, don't do it. And she doesn't. He's like right there. And I was like, oh shit, did he just die?
Yep. No,
Anyway,
dude.
this is about the Galactic. This is about, let's calm down. This is not about
Yes.
hot dog. This is about the
Not about a hot
Galactica.
dog. We're not talking about the main character here. We're talking about the secondary characters. Okay. you know, the Galactica falling apart was I think one of those like, oh shit, depressing moments for me, right? Because she's been there
Mhm.
from the beginning. She's literally like the pride of the fleet. She's protected everybody for so long. And when they talk about these little cracks at first, it's like, oh, it's no problem. And then when the chief holds up that like, black light or whatever, and you see all the cracks and everything, all the fractures everywhere, and it's like, oh my God, like this ship is not going to last at all. Like it's fucking done at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like losing a main character, in the series. It was just like I was certainly more sad about the Galactica than I was Gata, you know? So
Terrible. Terrible.
look, if Gata died in season 2, then I would have been more heartbroken about Gata. But I'm sorry. I didn't like the way he went out. So I was like, okay, fine.
I mean,
Or
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I think there are very few character deaths in this series. We will talk about one in a bit, but there are very few character deaths in this series that are that were or could be more depressing than
Mhm.
losing this ship.
Yep.
Roslyn would have been more, Adama, Ty. Like there are definitely several characters, main characters whose deaths would have been more depressing than losing this ship, but they
Yep.
didn't happen. And so, especially at this point, it's like, my God, we knew back when it was airing that it was close to the end of the show too. So it does,
Mhm.
things happen in the next set of episodes that she doesn't go completely yet, but just that the whole realization that the old girl ain't gonna make it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the first realization that we had, right? That it was just like it's coming to an end. Like this is gonna end. soon, right? I mean, at this point, we already knew that the end of the series was coming at this point.
Right, but
Right?
still, this
But
is
this
like
was
the
the
first tangible proof.
first tangible proof that, like, oh, okay, this ship only has so many jumps at this point. Like it's Earth or bust at this point.
I mean, the
First
fact that
two.
Adama is like, no, no Cylon tech, and then gives in to the Cylon tech, and I think that could have been a save if it weren't for fucking Boomer. Like, thanks, Boomer, again.
Okay, boomer.
Like,
Oh
but also
man.
the last moments of episode 18, Islanded in a Stream of Stars, where Adama and Ty are just kind of just sitting back, drinking, talking about the death of
It
their
was
ship.
it was one of the coolest scenes and really one of the like cooler arcs between Ty and Adama, right? Because
Mm,
the way this started off, he's Adama treated him when he found out that he was a Cylon and treated him like shit and like was fucking. He was really just provoking him to kill him, is what he was doing. He wanted to get killed. Adama wanted to get killed, and he was provoking him to do that. And but to see like how it turned around, and I feel like they were almost better friends after that.
yeah.
And yeah, that scene is just beautiful, because in this whole arc, aside from it being the arc of despair, it's the arc of despair because we had literally 3 or 4 Admiral Adama complete mental breakdowns in it, right? There was more mental breakdowns in these like 9 episodes or 8 episodes than there was in the entire show, right? And he had breakdown after breakdown after breakdown, and like when he knows that they're trying to repair the Galactica, and you see him grab like that gooey paint stuff and he's smacking it against the wall and like freaking it out, and he just sits there and starts crying. Like, what a great performer, like
Oh,
he just
yeah.
great, fantastic, you know. But yeah, at
Hmm.
the end, they're sitting on the couch drinking the booze and they're like to the Galactica, and it was just like, dude, beautiful, beautiful.
Cheers, motherfucker.
Exactly.
All right. So I think we can talk about some insights now.
Okay.
Move on from depressing stuff to
From depressing stuff.
the first couple things we're talking about is slightly less depressing stuff. These
Hmm.
are insights that we've gleaned from being longtime fans, but because we're covering Battlestar Galactica specifically, I do refer to some of these as Dean sites because Dean, my partner, knows more about the series than I ever could, than we ever could, honestly. Because when I told him about the hot dog thing and our reactions to it, he was like, "Yeah, duh," and I was like, "Fuck me! Like, why didn't I talk to you about this beforehand?"
That's fine, dude. That's fine. It was just like watching the series for the first time again.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
guys can be all hidey tidy over there or whatever, and you don't think hot dog is funny, but us over here, we think fucking hot dog is fucking funny.
Exactly. But anyway, so he constantly points things out to me, and I long ago lost track of what I knew before I knew him. So we've got a few production type things that we wanted to talk about. And the first one I gave to you because I feel
Mhm.
like we feel the same way about this.
1000%. Yes. So apparently, even though Edward James Olmos and Ray McDonnell insist that Adama and Rosalind were physically intimate for a while, with their first time having been on New Caprica, Moore insists that their physical relationship didn't actually begin until we first see them in bed together in the episode A Disquiet Follows My Soul. But we're both with EDJ and Mary McDonnell on this, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. Because if you
100%.
do remember, it happens a few times when old Eddie James almost is like, "Hey, so do you remember that day back on New Cat? What day? What did you guys do? Did you have a drink? Did you smoke weed? Or did you get intimate?" Like, come on, dude. They were doing it, like, and it was wonderful. It was beautiful. It was a great time to celebrate at the time, you know, like fantastic.
Right. Did you do those things? Did you do all of the above?
Yeah.
I feel like you could and should have done all of the above and probably did. And I think I don't know why Moore insists that these late episodes were the first times they ever slept. Come on. Come on. Like, even the actors don't agree with you, dude. I'm like, sorry, not
Exactly.
sorry, but mm.
They did it. They were doing it. They were having fun. Everybody was having fun.
And maybe it was like
Everybody.
it wasn't necessarily like on a super regular basis. They both
Mm-mm.
had a bunch of shit going on, but There's no fucking way they waited until now with everything we've seen between them. Didn't they say they
Mhm.
loved each other like in the
Yep.
last set of episodes? Really? Like are we trying to be like super like waspy here that they
Yeah.
they don't say I love you or that they're
Yeah.
saying I love you before they slept together? Fuck that shit.
Oh, fuck that shit. Come on, they were doing it. Like whatever,
Like,
dude.
you cannot know you love a person. Well, okay, listen, I guess that's me being, I guess, judgmental in a way. I don't know, but I don't think you can know that you love a person until you know how good they are in bed. I'm
You have
not
to
saying
bone
that's the
first.
most
I mean, that's
I'm not saying that's the most important thing, but I guess you have to know a person, and that is part of knowing a person.
when two people like each other, they generally bone first before they say that they love each other or figure out that they love each other. That's just the nature of the beast. That's how the world is.
All right.
Oh my god, the entire Christian community is gonna throw me into a lake of fire very soon.
It's fine. Me too, just based on my like fucking Instagram stories. All right. So next up, Aaron Douglas believed that Chief would have voted with the rest of the final five for the Cylons to leave Galactica and the humans behind. And also, I didn't know this, but apparently there was a live journal called Chief's Deck in which Aaron Douglas listed the reasons why Chief would have voted this way. But also, like, I was very active on LiveJournal for some years, and I was
Mhm.
fairly active still when this show was airing. So, how did I not know this existed? Also, I love that it was a fucking live journal. It's like George R.
Yes.
R. Martin refusing to leave live journal until it literally got taken over by Russian bots, and he basically had no choice.
Yep. Yep.
I was cackling. I was cackling when
And
obviously the idea that the actor believed that Chief would have voted with the rest of the final five. I get it because I know that he was still Chief as a character was still struggling with the whole
mhm.
being a Cylon thing and everything, but also like Adama and yes, Adama only kind of reappointed him chief out of like
Mhm.
basic need, but I
Mhm.
don't know. It doesn't feel like chief to me. That he would have voted with the rest of them.
You
Especially
know
after the
what?
shit that Boomer. I don't know. I can't remember
Look,
timing wise exactly, but
if they would have at least just added the Chiefs live journal on the show to get
oh my
because
god.
because that because that was actually one thing that was like that doesn't really seem like the chief like that he was like, oh yeah, we should go. I'm like, no, the chief would never just leave like that, but if there was some reasoning behind it, maybe
Well, the thing
okay, I could
he
see
in
some.
the show he didn't. He voted against it. He didn't want to leave. But
Mm,
Aaron Douglas insists that he would have wanted to leave, and that's where I come in saying like but yes,
mm,
if he had voted with them, we would have
yeah.
listen, Baltar has his radio show. Why can't Chief have a blog? Like today on the Galactica, and it's just like a techie blog where he talks about what he fixed.
What he fixed exactly.
Stop. Now I want that. Like what the if the internet existed back then,
Oh my gosh,
he would
man.
have been he would have been doing blog entries. Some who would have been doing like vlogs? Who would have been on TikTok?
Oh my god.
Who would
Who
have
would have been
been
on
on TikTok?
TikTok?
Ellen. Ellen absolutely would have been on
Alan would have
TikTok.
easily been on
She would have been
TikTok.
like big problematic TikTok fave.
Yeah, exactly. Like putting the camera in fucking the colonel's face all the time. He's just like, "Oh, Alan with that phone. I don't like the
Roslyn
TikToks."
Roslyn is like the Alexander. She's like the AOC Bernie Sanders like amalgamation of politicians, where she's like
Yep.
on Insta like talking shit about Zarek all the
Yeah.
time.
Exactly.
Oh my god, this is a different conversation that we need to have.
Yeah, dude.
So we're gonna let's go on to our last Dean site because this is a whole other conversation.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's a cool one for the music buffs out there. For the piano playing in Someone to Watch Over Me, Bear McCree took multiple digital samples of every key on the piano they had in Joe's bar set, and they used a synthesizer program to exact the sound of the piano in the space on his computer. in that space on his computer. He then went through he then went through the episode frame by frame and replaced every note that was played. Hmm. Also, that he can keep the same exact sound for the music while not relinquishing dialogue volume. That's interesting.
Yeah, so basically what it was like if they had recorded just them playing the piano and talking, there would have been issues with the volume, and they
Yeah.
would have had to relinquish one or the other.
Yeah.
So Bear McCreary actually went to the set, uh, used this like took these multiple, like basically every attack that you can think of on a piano key.
Hmm.
He took every attack you could think of on every single one of those piano keys in on that exact piano in that exact set so that it would sound exactly like it should sound if they were playing that piano on that set.
On that set.
Programmed all of those sounds into his computer, and then frame by frame from the episode, tons of fucking work, replaced every
Yeah.
note that is insane.
That's insane.
That is a dedication to
Hmm.
sound that the Netflix AI dubbing could never.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
No.
I
No,
just
that is fantastic.
when Dean and I were talking about this, I was just like, are you fucking the amount of work that must have been
Yep.
for
Yep.
Bear McCreary, and also just so that they could keep that same exact sound of like that's the way that exact piano sounds in that exact room.
The acoustics. They wanted the same acoustics.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Hmm.
insane. Like this show, man. Sometimes it just like it's always amazing, but sometimes the above and beyond is just fucking wow.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what
Okay.
makes it so good.
So we're gonna get into our personal insights. But I am going to preface, and I am being very, very serious here. I am prefacing our discussion of these insights with a very hardcore serious content warning, because we will be talking about suicide, physical and sexual assault, child abuse, and miscarriage. And I this is all very dark, and I felt like for this especially we needed to have a content warning.
Yeah.
um these are things like also that were super important to the set of episodes, but that I felt like did not need to go
Yeah.
into the top 5 moments for obvious reasons. The first one being uh Dee's death.
Hmm.
um I mean, we've talked about this, but I've watched this series all the way through several times. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. I don't remember at this point. But even now, I still cry every time this happens. I will say that in this particular instance, doing a little more research, apparently Candace McClure didn't agree with this particular end for D, and I can totally see why, because it didn't really, and I think this is part of why it hit so hard, is that it didn't really square, like you do not see it coming, because it doesn't really square with her being so hopeful for so long, even when she was on the Galactica during the silent occupation of New Caprica, for instance.
Hmm.
I do get why she came to terms with this ending for her character, and I understand why Moore and the writers thought it was the proper ending, because I do understand that total loss of hope for anything more than just day by day survival, and feeling like there's nowhere to go, like nowhere else to go, nothing else to do from here. But I do have to say I feel like it was very rushed.
Hmm.
Like maybe this should have happened not at the end of episode 11, which I can't recall the exact title of the episode, but maybe it shouldn't have happened right at the end of episode 11, but like during or after the insurrection, or when they realized the Galactica isn't salvageable. What are your thoughts on that? Because I it took a bit for me to come to terms with it as an ending for her, but I do think in the end I felt that way, but I also think it was a little rushed.
It was rushed, but I kind of understood what they were trying to do. Like everybody lost hope and everyone is showing it, right? And the people who don't, you know, show it are the ones who are more likely to do terrible things, right? Because they don't cry for help. They suffer internally and one day they wake up and they're just done. And that's just what happens. So and D is not someone that we know like a bit about her personality, but not so much about her. She's very more, I feel like she's more of a closed off person, like doesn't
Yeah.
really, you know what I'm saying? Like she definitely comes off as somebody who would just kind of struggle on her own and not really say, hey, I need to talk to somebody or like any of that stuff. And then she puts on this kind of facade that, oh no, I'm good, I'm surviving. Like everything is totally fine, no problem. And this is what happens to a lot of those people when they hit that point. They don't reach out. They don't say, "Hey, I need help." They don't do anything. And at that point, she was done. And there's some people, it's like, when you're just fucking done, you're just done. Like that's it. Um, it was definitely rushed. I feel like it was more of a shock factor they were going for,
Yeah. Yep.
because let's face facts, there isn't a lot of people who watch the show who don't like D. Like D was a fantastic character from start to finish. I loved fucking D from day one
I think
until
the
she left.
worst thing you can feel about her is ambivalence. Like
Exactly. Like just
there
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
you can't not like her.
Yeah. Like
Sorry,
I
not sorry.
yeah, like I loved her the entire series. Like I was just madly in love with her. And when they had to do her dirty like that, I was like, dude. But it was powerful though, right? Like it was
Mhm.
super fucking powerful. It was a shock factor, but
I mean, the
it
fact that even now, like 15 plus years after this episode aired
it
and
still hits you.
5 or
Yeah.
6 times, like I had to stop after that episode and just like, or
Breathe.
not
Yeah.
even, because I think it happens like not even quite at the very end of the episode. There's more stuff that happens after that, and
Hmm.
I had to like take a pause, like a big pause. And when I say a big pause, I mean I think it was like a day or two before I could get back to it, because
Yeah.
I just
It was
to
hard.
be
Yeah.
fair, it doesn't help that the world is on fire right now either,
Yeah.
literally on fire
Yeah.
in more ways than one. So,
Exactly. It was
yeah.
hard. Her death was definitely probably one of the hardest, in the entire show.
Yep.
So,
I mean,
and
honestly, I think even harder than like Starbucks. Like, yeah, we all hated to
mhm,
lose Starbucks, but she
we
went
all
out
knew she was
kinda
coming back.
that maybe, yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, another character that was lost that I don't know, honestly.
There
I don't
wasn't. D was
know.
the worst, yeah. Because the thing
Yeah,
is that D really survived everything. She killed herself. No one killed her,
yeah.
you know? She didn't die, she didn't get murdered, she didn't blow up in a fucking ship or die in war or anything like that. She was just fucking done and was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm done." She just wanted to have one good night and just be that was it,
And I
you
mean,
know?
and sh that's what she did. Like, she went and had a very good day, like,
Mhm.
and she was positive, and she kissed Lee goodbye and everything.
Yep.
Now I will say, like, I don't know the phone number off the top of my hand, but please, 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 in real life, if anybody is feeling like that sort of deep and dark, especially fucking right now, uh, reach out to somebody. Um, don't feel like it's the end. Don't feel like it's all over. This is a fake universe and a fake person, but it is a very fucking serious thing. Um, so, call a suicide hotline, call a friend, text a friend, message a friend or a family member, whatever. Like, please don't feel like there's nothing left.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, I don't want to say there, it can get better. There's always something, because all these like platitudes are bullshit. fucking been there. Like, I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally got to a point not quite 11 years ago where I realized that I was like at the end of my rope, and that if I didn't do something, I was going to do something. And I checked myself into a mental health facility. It wasn't like I went through a evaluation, and they didn't actually like I didn't actually have to go inpatient. They felt that I wasn't quite in that much danger, but they did put me in an outpatient program. I got the help I needed, and so just there is help. I
Yeah.
promise you. So anyway, next up.
Hmm. Let me see here. Totally lost where we're at now. Okay. So Ellen Tai and her apparent loss of all that growth she was exhibiting when she first resurrected, including growing Caprica 6 to the point where Caprica 6 is so upset that she loses hers and Ty's baby. Yeah, I'm like right there, like with
Fucking
this.
Ellen, man.
She came out and it was like, wow, how great is this? She's all like, you know, like I don't know, seasoned. Like she's just like, oh, wait a minute, like she's not just this crazy fucking person and just devolves right back into that fucking person, you know? And it's like, fuck, maybe you're the one who should have been fucking boxed, like what the fuck?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And like, my God, that awful, like, about turn faux apology. At
Oh
least
yeah.
it seemed like a faux apology to me when she realizes that Caprica is about to lose the baby. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this, guys.
Yeah.
She's very like, she's way too old to be like a child influencer, but like that's what it
Exactly.
sounds
That's what
like.
she's doing.
It's like
She's like, oh my
teen
God, was that
influencer
me?
drama.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. What did I do?
And what did I do?
Like, GTFO with that shit. Blech. Blech.
And it
I
was disappointing. It was disappointing to see that because the way she
yes.
came out, it was like, oh wow, she's like enlightened. It's like an enlightened Ellen, which is like that's cool. I would have loved to have seen that. It didn't last long,
Well, and
Like,
when she shows up on the Galactica and she sleeps with Ty, like, honestly, that's on him.
yeah,
She doesn't know about Caprica at that point.
yeah,
So that is on him. Big
mhm,
surprise.
yeah,
But then she finds out about Caprica, and she just makes it like she's so mad because her and Ty could never conceive a baby. She makes it like a point to cause fucking havoc and be awful, just
yep,
like she did when she was a human. And like I understand, okay, you want to show the flaws and everything, but you literally just you negated all of that sort of like it's like waking up and being a sage because you have realized all of your mistakes, and you want to fix everything, and you want
hmm
to be a part of something bigger again, and then you literally devolve right back into drama.
yep, yep.
Fuck you,
Terrible.
Ellen.
Fuck you, Ellen.
Honestly, and I know and this is not like a judgment on Kate Vernon or anything, but like because she was, and
She
also
did it
her,
beautifully.
yeah, exactly, her ability to play the Ellen that we see waking up and realizing she's a Cylon, going through all that shit
Hmm
with Cavill, and then like coming back to Galactica and just pretty much
Fantastic
immediately
actress.
devolving into what she
Yeah,
was as a human. But also, my God, grow a little bit, guys.
yeah, for real, for
Just
real.
saying. All right. I got one more insight. Okay, Boomer. AKA when Boomer. Actual name Boomer. Well, not
Yes,
actual name, but call sign Boomer. Call sign
boomer.
Boomer beats up Athena, tricks Hilo into having sex with her while Athena is beaten up and like tied up in a bathroom
In the
stall or
closet
whatever,
or
having to
whatever.
watch it.
Within plain sight. Yeah, within plain sight.
And then Boomer kidnaps Hera and subsequently abuses this child. But it's okay because eventually they bond, and like she like doesn't want to really hand Hera over to Cavill, and it's like no, not okay. None of this is okay. I just oh, I know Boomer went through a lot, but
This
there's no
doesn't.
justification
No,
for
this
this.
doesn't make sense. No,
No, it's bad. It's bad. I don't like it, and it's bad.
it was icky. It was very icky. Look, and another thing that just gets brushed under the rug. Why does no one ask how she got out? Nobody said anything. They're just like, "Oh, she got out." Like literally, it's not like they think, "Oh, this other person, Boomer, is like who's there." She just killed herself with what? A fucking wrench? Because that's how she died, and there was no wrench in there for her to beat herself in the head until she fucking killed herself, and she's just lying here, which is kind of interesting in itself. Wow, a wrench. Who would have fucking beat her? Who's the only person visiting her in here? Who's the person who's pleading the case for her to the president? Who could have let her out? Like everyone knew you did it, Chief. Everyone did, you know. But the
Mm-hmm.
story is like just it was passed over. And like, look, if you wanted to get Hera for some reason, you know, like okay, we need Hera because of some Cylon whatever bullshit. Like, okay, great, that's fine. Kidnap the fucking baby. It's at fucking preschool. You know, go over there and just
You
walk in
look
there
just
and
like
get it.
you are literally the genetic
You literally
copy
look the
of her
same.
mother.
No, 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 no. But it's like, okay, Boomer, do your evil, right? She's like, no, no, no. I'm gonna go beat the shit out of the other one, and then I'm gonna put her in a closet right next to the floor where I'm going to sleep with her husband, rape her husband,
Okay, I
right?
will say this.
Like,
I do not think that Boomer she did not plan on this thing happening with Hilo. I'm not excusing what she did.
I
I'm just
get
saying
that.
it wasn't like premeditated. But
I
it's
get
like,
it, but she still
why
followed
did
through
you
with
need
it.
to yeah, why did you not even she didn't just follow through that. She like leaned into it, bro.
She
Like
leaned into it. She enjoyed it.
this is sexual assault. It's sexual assault. He thought you it's like think of it in real life terms. You're married to a twin, okay? And your wife's twin let's even pretend your wife's twin is like asleep or somewhere. Nothing bad
Mhm.
happened to her. But like your wife's twin is like, I just feel like fucking my twin sister's husband. Gross, A, and also still sexual assault because they don't actually know who you are. Like, ugh, ugh. And
I just
there's
look, yeah, and it was just
so I will
it
say
was a bit
this.
much.
Apparently the like originally the whole like sex thing wasn't in the script, and there was like a kiss and they were just making out, and then someone hold on, let me da-da-da-da. Oh, the network was like, well, couldn't you just go all the way? Couldn't you just go all like why wouldn't you just go all the way? And they were like, "Yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's go all the way." And then it was like, "Okay, well, but also we're on a cable network. We can't show nudity. So like, what's the best way to like show this is happening?" Oh,
Yeah.
well, let's do it from the point of view of the beaten and tied up actual wife. Ugh.
Yep.
I like literally bile is rising in my throat.
Yeah, it was like icky. Like I can't
Mm.
throw up in my mouth anymore today, you know? Like that's it's a bit much. Yes. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it was definitely a network stupid thing where it's like, guys, but we want to make sexual assault sexy. You know, like how can we do that? You know, like it's like, all right, dude. All right, guys.
I mean, I think like a kiss, even a little bit of making out could have like been passed over, right? He still thinks this is his wife.
I honestly just thought it was gonna be like a bait and switch. Like she's gonna walk into the thing and say, hey, I need to pick up Hera. I'll be back in a bit. And then goes, and then it's like, hey, wait a minute. I just saw you. Didn't you just pick up Hera a little while ago? And then it was like, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? And it was going to be like this kind of thing, but they went like full
All
fucking
out.
crazy. Yeah, they
Well,
went
and
full nuts, you
honestly,
know?
like for 2009 or whatever, that was a lot. Like I would
That was a lot.
expect this
Yeah.
shit from a show today.
Yeah.
I would not it was not and I guess like, oh, we're breaking boundaries or whatever, but not in the good way, guys. Not in the good way.
Not in a good way. No, no. But you know what? I mean,
Ugh.
look, yeah, and the way Boomer interacts with Hera was like I
Oh my
felt like was
god.
kind of out of character for her, honestly. Like she was just being like, I don't know.
Nah, she was like that. She was like that the last time they had Hera, though. All of the
Mm.
eights they were like, ugh, God, this kid, why is she crying? Like, we look just like your mom, just fucking behave.
Yeah, that's true, but it's like
And
Boomer
and
too, and I
and the
don't know,
fact that she
man.
was like, here's a needle, like, I'm gonna just put you to sleep. Like,
Yeah.
maybe this is too much. Don't know how long it's gonna like put you down for. It's like instead of rubbing bourbon or whatever on your baby's gums when they're teething, you're just giving them a fucking glug 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 of bourbon.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
exactly.
Like, what
We
the
don't know what's gonna do to
fuck?
your liver, but it's like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, isn't it your responsibility to get this child back safely? Or are you just trying to get the body back over there? Like what are you trying to do at this point,
And then it
on your
feels like they
trip?
try to forgive like the whole thing because her and Hera eventually bond because they have like
Yeah.
oh, you can see my secret vision place. Like, no, like, how about don't fucking threaten a toddler?
Yeah.
Christ. Like, what?
Especially when you're taking her to the fucking Roach Motel, right? Like that's where you're going, and it's like, dude, yeah, we're gonna fucking bond. But there's gonna be a great, great resolution to this one.
Oh my god. Listen, I just and also again the idea that Boomer and like what is this fucking Stockholm syndrome? Like that they get to bond after Boomer is like yelling and screaming at her and like I'm gonna fucking shut you up with drugs, child. Oh,
Yeah, it's
I
like,
don't
"Hey, I
like. I
know
hate it. I hate
I
it.
know I abused you a little while ago, but I'm better now." Like, I don't feel like
Like
abuse anymore.
5 minutes ago, I was gonna
Yeah.
drug you into oblivion, but like now we're cool because you can see my vision plates.
Yeah, I was just hangry. I just finished having some Cylon Sammys. I feel better now, like, I don't wanna abuse you anymore. I'm not gonna knock you out, you know?
Oh my god. My
Ugh.
god.
That
Okay.
arc that arc was exhausting, I'm just gonna say. That was a
This
dark
whole yes, yes.
Yeah,
This
that
these
was a lot.
episodes. And listen, like we've been here before. We've had like dark sets of episodes, the dark
But this
arcs
was
that we've covered, but
consistent.
yes,
It was
nothing good
consistent.
happened.
No,
Nothing good.
nothing good happened. No.
Everything bad, everywhere bad, all at once bad.
Well, but hold on. Shout out to my girl, Laura Roslin, who hid her weed inside the book that Adama was reading to her. And she's like, wait a minute, turn to page 76. I'm fixing to get lit right now.
I think that's like the only positive thing that came from this set of episodes is like, yo, we
Yep.
finally got to see Rosalind and Adama in bed together.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
top fucking notch, middle-aged couple. Like before that was a thing that you actually got to see
Mm-hmm. Yep.
on television, in series, whatever. Like now it's I don't want to say super common, but it's definitely like more common. And
Yeah.
like back then it was like, whoa, big romance on the show. Actually, Adama and Rosalind, guys. And this
Yeah.
was
Exactly.
I mean, this in our opinion, obviously, because we think they've been together. They've been fucking, maybe not
They've been
regularly.
fucking. They've been
They've
fucking since
been
New
fucking.
Caprica, baby. Because in New Caprica, everybody be fucking. Everybody. We just found a new home, and now we're gonna find some new kids. Like that.
Well, maybe not for them. They were a little too old for that then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one like positive thing to come from this set of episodes is
Agreed.
like and also like when obviously them telling like them lying to Rosalind and saying that Adamo is dead, like her fucking visceral reaction was like, yes, queen. Like,
Yep.
I mean, because
Yep.
at this point she basically is a queen. um Ain't nobody gonna fucking replace her. They try. Like
No.
even Lee is like, yeah, I'm acting president. I'm just doing
Acting
this because you're
president.
too sick.
I love her so much, dude. When she had that freak out, man, it was just so good. And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh
yeah,
my
she is
god,
calling
dude."
down the fucking hounds of hell on these
Yes.
assholes, and they deserved it.
Yep. They deserve every minute of it.
All right. Well, any last thoughts from our arc of despair?
No, dude. I think I should have door dashed some weed tonight after this one because this was a
Rough.
dark one, man. Yeah, we've gone through a lot of these because now we are coming close to the end of our,
Mm,
of
main
our
series,
series.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a wild ride, and this one was definitely the darkest hour before dawn, but it was dark
Literally,
nonetheless.
the darkest hour before daybreak. Would you
Daybreak.
say?
Ding.
Jesus.
Oh
All
man.
right. As we close out the episode, we just want to thank you for joining us for our 11th Media That Made Us episode on the Arc of Despair. We will be back Wednesday, April 9th to continue our discussions of BS. Well, I guess to not even to continue, to conclude.
To
We will be,
conclude.
yeah, we will
Yeah,
be
this is
back.
the end. We're
Yeah.
gonna do the plan though, right? We're doing the plan.
Yeah. We're doing more BSG stuff, but we will
But
be
this
back
is the
on,
conclusion. Yeah, this is the
yeah,
conclusion of
yeah. We'll be back on Wednesday, April 9th to conclude our discussions of BSG Season 4. In the meantime, please do not forget to like, subscribe, or rate us 5 stars wherever you're watching or listening. And as always, please consider supporting us by backing our Patreon at patreon.com/geeksaga_entertainment.